Progress check. I mean, we have got on a little bit more printing. I'm just going to focus in and talking through you guys this bottom wing here to start off with. So this is the lower wing that I have successfully printed, and it's pretty cool as a wing. This lower wing is bolted onto our barge boards. I've been calling this the end plates. The end plates, we're really doing a good job actually, and they're nice and strong. Interestingly, the end plates, I've only used super glue to put all the pads together. So all of these individual pads that make just one barge board is only glued together by super glue. And I noticed something, or shall I say I can confirm what other YouTubers have found, when it comes to 3D printing on plastics, the super glue is almost as strong or more stronger than the actual print itself. So the part can fail, the print will fail before the glue, I noticed, fails. As well as gluing these things together, I also plastic welded some of the gaps that I might have had. So here there's a gap, I'm going to get some plastic weld in there, just fill in the plastic rather than use filler, and then sand that down. But the barge boards are holding together quite nicely to the front wing. This is where we've got some actual bolts that I've put into the wing. We also have quite nicely, I managed to get these to glue together really nicely just by using super glue again here. But as well as using super glue, underneath there is some staples. So I've been doing a bit of plastic welding with this staple gun, and I've got it here. So staple welding these on with a little stapler. This was only like 15 quid off the internet. Bargain! But yeah, I'm really happy. It's still a little bit sharp underneath here where the staples I've cut are quite rough. What I'm going to do next is sand this all down, and that will hopefully give me a really nice finish. Once that's all sanded down, I've already bought the carbon fibre. We'll then laminate on top some carbon fibre. I've also been thinking about adding a bit more of a customisation to this wing. I noticed that it's a little bit thicker in real life when watching the races. I've just finished watching the Chinese race this morning, and it's a bit of like a real wing. I think there's more of a curve here, so I'm going to 3D print some trimmy bits that will just get glued on top of these end bits, just to give it a bit more thickness. But super satisfied. There was holes on this wing as well to help me bolt onto this bit. I will get onto the building of the nose, and we need to finish printing the nose, so that will come onto another video how we did that. Oh my god, did I mess up a little bit as well with this, not the second wing but this wing especially. I messed up big time, so big update on that, on how I messed up with that. But yeah, overall so far so good, and this was a bit stressful, so it's been a bit of the last few days working on this particular part was a little bit harder than working on this initial front wing, so I'll share with you some of my trials and tribulations a little bit further in the video. Another time, shall I say. Okay, back onto Blender. We're now going to make the lower wing, and to do this we're going to add a plane. And with our plane, all I want to do is create the overall shape of all of the front wing. So we only need to work with half, because we're going to use a mirror later on to make the other half symmetrical. So I'm just moving our vertices like we did to make the barge plate, the end plate, whatever it's called, and I'm just trying to put some vertices in all four corners as close as possible. I'm now looking at the front of the wing and just getting the main shape there. I'm going to add some loop cuts to try and get as close to the shape as possible. I think these are kind of really cool shapes that we're starting to see in Formula 1 from different teams. So I'm just loop cutting here and just making that shape. Difficult to see, but I've got my first kind of curve that I'm trying to achieve with the wing. Now, as you can see, I've not made multiple wings just yet. We'll cut up and make the 3 wings separate, but we're just making the oval shape, and this just helps basically making these cuts here to make the cuts flow a little bit better when we divide the wings up. So there we go, just adding these vertices in, matching them with the blueprint, and this is how I split. Highlight all of my faces, press the P button, and that basically splits all of these different shapes. So you highlight your faces, hit P, and then press P selection. And I'm just labeling these wings really clearly: wing 1, wing 2, wing 3, and that just means when it comes to editing each individual wing, I can find my wings correctly. So here we go, I've got my different wings. So with this wing, we are going to work with the lower wing first. I like messing around with my edges, making sure when I put the mirror on, it is nice and flush. So this is where I work on the min crease. I highlight my vertices and click 1 for the extreme min crease. I also have to add a loop cut to really make this min crease, there you go to the edge, so that when we do put the mirror, it all works out. Now we'll fiddle around a bit more with this a little bit later. It doesn't look the best at the minute, but it's okay. You would have noticed that I've added the modifiers as well for smooth, to make these a little bit smoother. I've also added the modifier to make them a little bit thicker, and I will go a bit more thicker in fact for printing. So all I'm doing right now is just making the back bit of this wing just stick up so it starts to flare up. I'm using very minimal vertices here. I will add a few more vertices, but just to keep the shape as simple as possible, I'm going to let the subdivision modifier do all the hard work, and then that means it's just a little bit easier to manipulate these shapes. So this is coming together quite nice. Again, let's add some more min creases, give that a really nice flat edge. And there you go. We're starting to see the wings appear. Now I do need to mess around a little bit to make this good, so I've put some extra thickness in. That's going to look really cool. I'm also going to put a bit more subdivision surface to smoothen it just a little bit better as well. That's just looking really awesome now, really come together quite quick as well. I'm going to do the last wing at the back, which flares up quite a lot. So I'm just going to click on the vertices right at the back first. So you'll see I highlight the front ones actually, drop those down a little bit, but if I go to the back, I can now really bring these up, and this is where we really will see the shape of the different wings come together. So nice loop cut there to give me a closer edge, constantly referring back to the blueprint, because the blueprint will allow me to get as close to what the real Formula 1 cars actually look like. But overall, I'm really happy with how this is going. I'm just going to mess around a little bit more with the shape to get the shapes as best as possible. I've added the mirror, adding more loop cuts now to really make this thing come together. The loop cuts really bring the edges that I want. All of that hard work with the vertices, the more loop cuts I put close to that edge, the cooler the shape that I wanted to achieve. This is kind of a bracket to allow me to bolt. So all I did was highlighted the edges of the wing, press extrude, and that just brings down these kind of like brackets to the side. That's all glued in, and that will hopefully help it much easier when we build the actual wing, make it a lot easier to put together. So there you go. I'm just adding the modifier boolean to cut into the end plate, This is really important. This just allows me to ensure it's all fitting in the right place. So the boolean just allows for a little bit of accuracy once everything's printed to put it together. I'm now making a bolt. So this bolt basically will also give me further strength. I can glue it together, but also unbolt pieces on and off. So this bolt is going to be not 3D printed. This is just a bolt to replicate what the bolts would be like in real life. But here I am, making a mess of extruding, but all I need to do is extrude into the medium of that shape to give me that extra flange that I'm looking for. So move this bolt towards the ring, and you'll see I'm just going to rotate it. There we go, make two. I'm going to combine these as one shape because it saves me a little bit of time once they're combined as one shape. So put the bolt in where I would like it. I need to stretch these bolts a little bit more, so I'm just going to hit the S and then hit the Y to stretch them on the Y axis. I think I need a bit more. There we go. Awesome. And I'm going to now click on my end plate and add that boolean for that bolt. So I called it bolt, hide that bolt, and there you go. You can start to see that it's cut out that bolt. I need to also cut out those holes for the lower wing so that the holes will match with the end plate as well. And this just really allows hopefully a much stronger build. Okay, so I'm now happy with this. I'm going to send this off to the print, so exactly the same way as I cut the barge plates, the end plates, I'm going to do the same to this one, but I'm not going to show you guys because I show you how I did it the first time, but I'm going to cut this up into multiple pieces so that my little Ender 3 can print it more manageably. Is that even a word? I don't know, sorry. But here we are, here are all the pieces for the lower wing. I'm going to glue them together firstly with staples on one side, and then the other side I'm going to use just some super glue, and that should make it super strong. This holds the whole front wing together really, because it holds the nose piece, the barge boards, and it needs to be super strong. So you'll see how close I'm stapling my staples together on one side. This is actually the underneath of the lower wing, and yeah, make sure you're wearing eyewear. I've also got a face mask that I've invested in, so you only get one pair of lungs, one pair of eyes. Look after yourself and try not to burn yourself as well. And here it is. Once it's all glued together, as you can see, I'm super happy. And hopefully you guys, if you're making the same, you'll be happy. There's actually some cool shapes in here that you don't notice on the camera, I noticed when watching it back, but really cool. If you want to jump along on this process with me, let me know, give me some comments, give me some feedback, but hit the subscribe button, hit the like button please. It really would help a little bit of a following. I'm trying this out. This is the biggest project I've ever done, that's why I'm showing it off with you guys.